Right then, welcome listeners to the 1912 Exiles podcast. We are doing our big match preview ahead of Newport County's visit to Boreham Wood on Sunday in the FA Cup. And I'm joined by county fan, but also, as we'll discuss, Boreham Wood aficionado Marc Peplow. How you doing, Marc?
I'm not too bad. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm all right. So when this draw came out of the hat, a lot of our initial reaction was it's the Marc Peplow derby. So you better start off by telling us your story of why you have a foot in both camps for this one.
Yeah, so for those around the club that know me, they know I've been involved in football and sport for quite a while. Boreham Wood was the first club that gave me a full-time opportunity working in education and development with their academy. But with that, with getting to know their academy, you get to know a lot of the first team, and you're in and around the first team staff and the players. You see training every day, and you're just really in that really strong environment of club, academy, and the first team, and it's lovely to be a part of.
And you've kind of retained that interest and affection for Boreham Wood over that time.
Yeah, so when I was at Boreham Wood, the club did get relegated to the National South, and then halfway through the season of last season, when I left, they really picked it up and got themselves back to the National League, and then they're doing really well right now as well. So I'm not saying that I'm a bad luck charm, especially living back in Newport now. We're in the position we're in, but I'm just saying that it's good to see that there's a club that I've been at working really hard to get into the Football League now.
Yeah. Well, you're clearly the Jonah that drags clubs down, but
We'll see.
You mentioned the good form that Boreham Wood are in this season, and I was just looking at last 6 games, and a quick look at it suggests they have lost only one. Newport County, in contrast, things. Well, as we know, Exiles are not as good. We have won only one, and that, of course, was the previous round against Gillingham. So, although on paper this is a potential giant killing, actually the reality is Boreham Wood going very well towards the top of the conference, us rock bottom of the 4th division. Do you really think that it's a giant killing scenario, or actually are Boreham Wood the real favourites going into this game?
I'm not sure. So we all know that our away form is okay, considering in comparison to our home form. So I wouldn't necessarily call Boreham Wood favourites. I think Boreham Wood will play their style of football, and it'll give us a really big shock at the start of the game. And I think it genuinely will come down to how we respond to that in the first 20 minutes. I think that's going to be the strongest telltale of how this game's going to go. But I wouldn't necessarily call them favourites. I think this is a very even clash.
Yeah, you see, I'm not so sure. I just think the conference is such a competitive league that to be anywhere near the playoffs in that division, you've got to be a seriously good team. Whereas I think the 4th division, in comparison, there are, as we know, a lot of quite poor teams knocking around the bottom. So to me, any side who is top half, top third of the conference, would probably be mid-table in our league. So I always just feel that slight sense of worry. I mean, even in the season when we had Man United in the Cup, it took us 2 games to get past Barnet and Eastleigh, which I think told a tale, and we were a better side then.
Yeah, and I think coming into this specific game, though, I think both teams look at it, and I think we probably have it all to do. Not in the sense of we need to prove ourselves against Boreham Wood, more the sense that we need to have a game where if we can win this, get into the 3rd round, that could do a lot for where we are in this position as a club. It will do a lot for Christian Fuchs if he could get his first win, especially on the road, especially in the FA Cup competition he's actually won. But then again, looking at Boreham Wood, they've had their fair share of giant killings as well. They played the likes of Bournemouth, Everton. They've done really well in those games too. So they've probably got a lot less pressure on them. But what we will have to expect is, and this is what the chairman does really, really well, he gets people into these games. He gets people excited for them. And this is something that we're going to have to deal with. We're going to have to deal with a really strong Hertfordshire crowd here. And the thing is, they will show us a lot of respect. a lot of respect. Luke Garrard, if there's one thing I've known from working anywhere near him in the last few years, is that he shows anyone a lot of respect, and that will prove in the football played.
Yeah. Well, that brings us on to what we can expect then from our opponents. So, I mean, I was having a quick look at good old Wikipedia and looking through their squad list, and there's some good names in there. The likes of Luke Norris, I think, was the one that stood out in particular. But who do you think we should be worried about looking at that squad?
Well, obviously, you look at Luke Norris and you say, what a signing. What a signing that is. And I think 12 goals so far this season has just proven it. Zach Brunt, fantastic defender who they had on loan to start the season and managed to sign on a permanent. Everyone at Boreham Wood would be surprised if I didn't say Eriko Souza. Eriko Souza has been a fantastic player across both the National Leagues and League Two for a number of years. He's someone that will get up into your face with the ball, and he'll get past you with the ball, no problem. And then finally, I'll probably say Abdul Malik. Now, he's a player who has been at the club for a while, and over the last year or so has really come into himself and is really becoming that really poignant part of playmaking. And it's a point to where it's not just playmaking, it's I'm going to play make for myself and get myself goals. And this is the sort of side we're up against, a free-flowing team that are just going to get people into the box. If they're not crossing, they're dribbling. If they're not dribbling, they're getting one of the better crosses in the league. And it's going to be a really tough test in respect to that. The only thing I'm interested in, Boreham Wood have probably had the same keeper for the last 4 or 5 years, and Nathan Ashmore, a really great goalkeeper and a great servant to the club. He's gone on loan twice to Bedford so far this season, and they've got a loan keeper in from the Premier League in Ted Curd. So that's something I'm interested in. Could be an area that we could exploit. Well, you're saying the goalkeeper's where we need to exploit, obviously, Mark, but it could be an opportunity to put some testers out there, put a few feelers out there. If we could do that early in the game, we'll get a good idea of who we're up against.
Yeah, I also noted, Jack Payne in their team, who's a player who I've always liked the look of when he's come up against County. So, well, I know you're making the trip down. Plenty of others are too, including Jamie from the podcast. What's the ground like? Meadow Park, is that right?
Yeah, Meadow Park, my old stomping ground. Do you know what? To be honest, if you offered Newport County this stadium, you would take it in a heartbeat. Obviously not in Hertfordshire, but it's a fantastic ground. You will be really well looked after by the fans there and in their bars. Definitely try the Boreham Wood Lager if anyone's going down. And I want to hear the thoughts on that on the podcast on the weekend too. Really nice stadium. You can tell it's at the level it's at. You would look at it and you'd say this wouldn't go unmatched. Well, not unmatched. This would
be out of place in our league.
Out of place in League Two. Thank you. Yeah. They're the words that you're looking for. And you'll really enjoy it. Everyone's going to really enjoy it, having a new ground as well, which is something we don't often get to have in League Two, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And finally then, prediction. How many goals are we scoring on Sunday?
We're going to get 1 goal. I don't know whether that's going to be the penultimate goal or not, but I've got to say 1 goal just to keep myself happy.
Good stuff. Well, enjoy the trip down. I know, Jamie from the podcast is going to be there and we'll be recording stuff for the pod, so I'm sure you will feature in that. But safe travels and thank you very much for the insights.
Awesome. Thank you very much. See you later.